Mouth hanging open, Harry saw a little square for June 13th seemed to have turned into a minuscule television screen. His hands trembling slightly, he raised the book to press his eyes against the little window, and he was pitched headfirst through the opening in the page into a whirl of color and shadow. He felt his feet hit solid ground and stood shaking as the blurred shapes around him came suddenly into focus. He knew immediately what was sitting behind the desk. A wizened, frail-looking wizard, bald except for a few whiskers and white hair, was writing a letter by candlelight. Harry had never seen this man before. That the wizard might be deaf, Harry raised his voice. "Sorry I disturbed you. I'll go now," he half shouted. So the wizard folded up the letter with a sigh and stood up, walked past Harry without glancing at him, and went over to draw the curtains at his window. The sky outside was ruby red. It seemed to be sunset. The wizard went back to his desk, sat down, and twiddled his thumbs, watching the door. Harry looked around the office. There was a knock on the office door. "Enter," said the old wizard in a feeble voice. "Enter," said the old wizard in a feeble voice.
Good feeble voice. It's good.
Riddle," said the headmaster. "You wanted to see me, Professor Dippet," said Riddle. He looked nervous. "Sit down," said Dippet. "I've just been reading the letter you sent me." "Oh," said Riddle. "Oh," said Riddle. "I just want to..."
Okay, that's fine. You can give him funny voices, but just keep reading.
"Oh," said Riddle. He sat down, gripping his hands together very tightly. "My dear boy," said Dippet kindly, I cannot possibly let you stay at school over the summer. Surely you want to go home for the holidays." "No," said Riddle at once. "I'd much rather stay at Hogwarts." "You live in a little orphanage. During the holidays, I believe," said Dippet curiously. "Yes, sir," said Riddle, reddening slightly. "You're Muggle-born?" "Half-blood, sir," said Riddle. "Muggle father, witch mother." "And are both your parents?" "My mother died just after I was born, sir. They told me at the orphanage. She lived just long enough to name me Tom after my father, Marlo after my grandfather." "Thing is, Tom," he said, "special arrangements might have been made for you, but the current circumstances. You mean all these attacks, sir?" said Riddle. And Harry's heart leapt and moved closer, scared of missing anything. "Dear boy, you must see how foolish it would be of me to allow you to remain in the castle when term ends. Particularly, the light of recent tragedy, the death of that poor little girl. You will be safer by far at your orphanage. As a matter of fact, the Ministry of Magic is even now talking about closing the school. We are not locating the source of all of this unpleasantness. Riddle's eyes widened. Had widened. Sir, if the person was cut, if it all stopped.
What do you mean?
And David, with a squeak in his voice, sitting up in his chair.
Reynolds, do you mean you know something about these attacks?
How do they know about it?
How do they know about those attacks?
No, sir, said Riddle quickly. But Harry was sure it was the same sort of no that himself had given Dumbledore. Tippett sank back. Oh, yeah. He read one page. After this page, we go done.